two U.S. senators, both Democrats, who have committed up until this point into sticking with the 60-vote threshold, the traditional filibuster as we know it in the U.S. Senate currently, that requires getting to 60 votes to end debate on a piece of legislation and then actually go to the majority vote. It's got a schedule 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. We know this is going to happen pretty quickly, and we will know by then, tonight, if Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema stick to what they have been preaching the last couple of weeks.
He wants to use a simple majority of the Senate to do away with the legislative filibuster and to force this legislation through. It is not expected that he is going to succeed. He's going to fail. But, Jordan, he's going to push the Senate to the brink anyway.
Listen to Senator Grassley, because he's someone who is about bipartisan compromise.
So it is absurd to say only one party, unilateral governments, can save democracy. But once an exception is made, and they're talking about that exception just for this voting rights bill, but once an exception is made to the right of all senators to debate and to amend legislation, there seems to be no going back.
They're being told that without your vote here, without changing the rules, democracy is over. Racists have won. Radicals, fascists have won. And so unless we change the rules, and as Chuck Grassley said, do this in a unilateral, one-party solution with this federal takeover of the elections, we've given up democracy as we know it.
The Democrats, they want to engage in vote harvesting and other malicious efforts designed to do what? To subvert democracy. So when they claim they are defending democracy, in reality, it's quite the opposite. It's a shell game. It's a sham. And I hope the American people see through it.
They don't oppose the legislation. They oppose the idea of turning the Senate into the House of Representatives, where there's no 60-vote threshold. So there's no idea of consensus, building bipartisan support for major pieces of legislation.
They are determined. Generally, the Democrat Party, they walk in lockstep with one another. It's very unusual that Sinema and Manchin are holding out. We, again, need to encourage them to do that.
What they're voting on is a federal takeover of the election process. I mean, starting with making Merrick Garland the AG, the election czar, to having to pre-clear every kind of election rule change through the federal government, regardless of what state you're in, regardless of the history of that state. I mean, so the broadest federal takeover of the election process in history. But at the same time, and I think just for people to understand what is going on today, while that vote may occur and they might see a Sinema and Manchin vote yes on that, what's key is they will not get to the 60-vote threshold, which then triggers the debate about the filibuster.
I've got a very strong disagreement with Senator Sinema and Senator Manchin on the substance of that bill. They're both co-sponsors of it. Every Democrat in the United States Senate is a co-sponsor of it, Jordan. So I disagree with them on substance. But the United States Senate is supposed to be the greatest deliberative body in the world. You're supposed to be able to either come to consent or to have endless debate until the debate is up. That is what's under threat today.
For Chuck Schumer, there is one motive in all of this, and that is his own political survival. They realize they're going to lose probably both houses of Congress in the fall. He realizes that when he comes up for re-election, that the left is very unhappy with him. AOC will probably try to primary him in New York. She's very popular there. This is about his own political survival. He's willing to attack two of his colleagues in the Democrat Party and to put the Senate through this, because he wants to be able to say to the people on the left in his home state, look, folks, I tried, I did my best, my colleagues would not go along with this. That, to me, is part of the most disingenuous part of this whole charade.
It seems like for Biden and the whole team going into midterms, having another loss on the sheet is not helpful to the everyday voter when you take out your hard left base.
I think there's such a desperation for a win from the Biden administration that even a loss trying to do what they perceive their base wanting is seen as a lesser of evils between just walking away and admitting defeat. You know, I don't know if I agree with that rationale, Jordan, but I think that's what they've come to. They've lost on so many things in a row. They don't want to walk away without trying, so they're going to take this vote. But look, I mean, it's always about the numbers in Washington, D.C., and if you're going to alienate two more of your United States senators in a 50-50 caucus heading into a midterm election, to me, me, that's pretty short-sighted.
It's like loss after loss after loss. You have to wonder if you're the Biden team, if you're President Biden, yeah, you're getting pressure to hold this vote. You missed the MLK deadline. You missed all these key moments. Why still take another loss? What is the point of just losing and losing with your own party?